All right, next book that's up is Smarter, Faster, Better. So the first chapter is talking about motivation and choices, and what is important to feel motivated is that you feel like you are in control. So one of the examples, in old people's homes, when they were distributing cookies, the elderly, even though they received a cookie that they like, they would still trade it just because they want to feel like they are in control and they can make the decision about what they eat and they don't want to be fed. Also, what they found was when they were looking at students and they were giving them compliments about their intelligence, their outer locus of control was activated, and when they were complimented about how hard they have worked, their inner locus of control was activated. What this locus of control means is basically the old Stoic idea of what am I in control of? What can I do? What actions can I take? And when you get a compliment about your intelligence, you don't feel like this was something that you were controlling. It was just something that you received. And one of the other things that I remembered from this book for a long time is that in the Marines, they will never compliment a recruit for something that he knows that he is good at. So they're not going to tell an athletic recruit that he's so strong and he's a fast runner, but they will actually tell the shy person that he's been so brave for standing up and taking control, or the weak person that he's so strong for like being able to do so many push-ups or pushing through the whole obstacle course. And this shift in their mind has a really big impact because they realize that they can change. This also has to do with like the fixed or the growth mindset. Like they have a certain idea about themselves, and then all of a sudden someone is telling them, hey, I see you're doing something really great on an area that you didn't know that you were good at. So the next chapter is about teams, and what is talked about in this book is that at Google, when they are having meetings, they will only stop the meeting after everyone has had around and about an equal saying into the meeting, because it's really important that everyone can speak their mind. So the head chair is like keeping track of who is talking and who isn't talking, and they will just point out like, hey, you didn't talk that much, just what are your ideas on this? And I think this is also just a very valuable idea, because some people have really great ideas but they never show them, and some people just don't have great ideas but they talk all the time. Right, the next chapter is about decision making. It's about Bayesian, I don't even know how to pronounce this, decision making. So the key to making good decisions, as the author says, is by getting comfortable with uncertainties. And the best way of making decisions is actually to envision all the different scenarios in your mind. It's a little bit like quantum thinking, where there's still all the options are open. So you're envisioning all the different options, and then after this you're going to answer the question, which one is most likely to happen and why? And this will give you a more accurate view of the future. So next chapter is about creativity. They found that the new creative ideas are actually just copy-pasting existing principles but using them in different fields. And one of the terms that is also important for creativity is creative desperation. So creative breakthroughs will actually come when you are pushed to the boundary and you're forced to look at the situation in front of you in just a different way. So imagine if you just like take a chainsaw and get rid of all the trees in the forest, then what will rise up is just one most dominant species. But when only one tree falls over, it just leaves a bit of space, and in this space a lot of different plants and trees will have the opportunity to grow. And it's the same thing with creative ideas. If you disrupt it too much, it won't work, but if you just disrupt it just enough, there will be enough space to reignite and just show up of new ideas. For creativity, it's also really important to be sensitive to your own ideas and feelings, because as Steve Jobs says, that the best designers are actually the ones that have thought more about their own experience. Combine it with like this previous principle of seeking underlying principles and copy pasting it to new terrains will also help you to come up with new creative ideas. And this is my favorite and really important chapter. It's about how do you understand something. So they got a whole school. The teachers weren't really involved with the grades that the students were making. So they just gave them the task of writing down the grades somewhere in a graph. And just by processing it in this way, the teachers got a much better understanding of what was actually happening. And I think this is just so key. Like, you can view all the YouTube videos in the world or all the ones about this book club series that I'm creating, but as long as you are not actually processing it and like turning it into something else, like a synthesizer, just changing the signal and putting it into something else, you're not going to be able to understand anything of what I'm saying unless it really resonates with something that just happens to be on your path right now. So there's this inability to take advantage of data called data blindness, which is very similar to snow blindness, which is when you won't be able to distinguish between what is a tree and what is a hill and what is a house under a thick layer of snow. So we need a certain amount of information to make decisions, but too much information, and I've been making videos about this too, will actually just like block you and make you information blind. And what you will also find when you are making decisions is that on a subconscious level you are breaking apart many smaller decisions. So when someone is asking you, what kind of wine do you want? Then you might say, I want red wine. You're breaking it down into binary choices. So do you want red or white wine? Do you want cheap or expensive wine? Do you want Chardonnay or Sauvignon? And this is the way that very small binary choices all pile up into a bigger choice. So just know that data is only useful when we know how to make sense of it. So otherwise it's information. I already said this in another video. Information means that everything is structured in a certain way. Information is just like raw stimulation entering your brain and having no direction, just cluttering up your mind. And so it's super important to be processing this. Whatever you are trying to understand, just journal, put it in a graph or whatever, just turn it into something else. Hopefully this video was also helpful and it will make you smarter and faster and better. And thanks for watching the video. See you in the next video.